United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Walker.
Here.
Scarrow. Here. Ball. Here. Paczynski.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to give one. Okay, first item of business is consideration of the approval of the meeting agenda. On the meeting agenda for tonight, first off, we have a special presentation on water tower asset management. And Dan Kitchen, who is with the Utility Service Group, will be doing that presentation tonight. Under communications and announcements, you have a letter from Sharon, and is it Tricoli? Shirley, you
I
talked
do
with her?
not know how to pronounce
Okay.
that, but that looks right.
Yeah, and she is the claims adjuster for Municipal Underwriters of Michigan regarding the rec center roof damage insurance coverage. Item B, you have the strategic plan, copy of that from the Manistee County Board of Commissioners. Item C is the Manistee County Park and Recreation Plan update. Item D is a letter from the Manistee County Board of Commissioners to Governor Rick Snyder, dated 10/10 of 14. And item E is a communication from Sarah Lucas, Regional Planning Department Manager, Networks Northwest. Department and committee reports. The item A, you have in your packet the Water Department report from Wade Trim. Item B, Fire Department report. Item C, the report from our zoning administrator. Item D, Planning Commission minutes and report. Item E is the Building and Grounds Committee, and there we need to discuss the possible removal of the tree that's located near Pump House 2. Item F is Elections Committee. Item G, PEG. Item H, Downtown Development Authority, FILER Township Target Market Analysis Report is included in your packet that Sharon Woods from Land USA did, Land Use USA. And item I is Sewer Project. Under new business, we have item A, discussion of possible membership in the Michigan Rural Water Works Association. Any discussion on the meeting agenda? I know Ruth has something she'd like to add. I would like to move to take item A off from new business, remove that. I don't feel right at this point in time that we're ready to make a decision on that. So I thought we might be, and so I'd like to have item A removed from new business.
And then,
Ruth, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add permission from the board for a tax collection webinar for my deputy if she chooses to do it. It's half price if we buy it the month of November. It's $60, and it's broken down into 4 different sessions. So if she wants to do it, then at least she would have the board approval to go ahead with that.
Okay. Anyone else have any additions or deletions to our meeting agenda? If not, then I would entertain a motion for approval.
Also move.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is consideration approval of the consent agenda. On your consent agenda tonight, you have the minutes of the regular board meeting from October 7th. Item B is the financial report. Item C, approval of the township general fund expenditures, including the fire department, checks 31727 through 31823, accounts payable of $36,920.25, payroll of $12,065.90 for a total of $48,986.15. Item D is approval of water department expenditures, checks 2045 through 2052 totaling $13,653.66. Item E is approval for board members to attend the Michigan Townships Association annual conference in Grand Rapids in January of 2015 at a cost of $309 per person plus accommodations. Item F is approval to transfer $50,000 from the water department fund balance into the water department professional services. Any questions, discussion on the consent agenda? Then I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll motion to approve it.
Support. Consent here.
All in favor of approving the presented consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, under special presentations, I would like to introduce Mr. Dan Kitchen from Utility Service Group. They came back in, I believe it was August, and did a complete inspection on both of our water towers. And then Tom and I met with Dan back in mid-October and felt that the entire board ought to see a condensed version of the PowerPoint. We saw a rather lengthy PowerPoint, but it was very informative. So I'll turn it over to you, Dan.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Should I turn some of the lights off?
Yeah.
I don't know if you turn
Back toward the corner there if you want.
part of them. I'm hitting all the wrong ones. What it looks like.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah, that's good.
Good evening. My name is Dan Kitchen with Utility Service. I feel like I've been presenting all day today. I had a 6-hour training class I gave to water operators over in Frankenmuth today. So if my voice seems a little raspy, it's because I've been talking all day long and I get in the Suburban and I drove up here for this meeting. But I certainly appreciate inviting me to come out to introduce our concept for asset management. I live in Portage, down by Kalamazoo, and I cover the state of Michigan for the company. We cover the United States as a company, and we are owned by a very large corporation called Suez, which is a $19 billion company, which allows us to give it a lot of different financial resources under an asset management maintenance approach for tanks, as well as other services that municipalities have with wells, with meters, with filtration. So this is our core business. This is what we've been known for the last 50 years. This is what we're known for in the state of Michigan. We have a lot of business. The other services are fairly new in the last few years, but this is what we're going to talk about, is how we did a condition assessment for the sole purpose to build an asset management plan for the township to consider on an ongoing basis. It's a very unique business model. It's very popular. We have over 6,000 tanks nationwide that we maintain, and a lot here in Michigan. We got a lot of work, a lot of crews working and renovating tanks, but it is a very unique business model because it's a little bit different than when you hire an engineering firm, you bid it out and you get a 1-year warranty. This is more of a proactive approach, which is a long-term relationship, ongoing maintenance with long-term perpetual warranties. With that being said, it's a custom-built presentation for the township. Today's presentation, we're going to review some of the benefits of an asset management approach, a proactive maintenance program for your 2 water storage tanks. You have a 300,000 gallon tank and a 200,000 gallon tank. Our recommendation is to bring them up to 2014-2015 standards, which includes repainting the inside and the outside of them, some safety upgrades, and potentially some new logos. Economical analysis. We talk about some of the economics of this business model in comparison to the traditional way of maintaining the asset, where you hire an engineering firm, you bid it out, and get a 1-year warranty. And then a summary. So, as we look at maintenance on a global aspect and the work that we do, we, as a company, inspect close to 10,000 tanks nationwide every year. So we have a lot of crews getting their hands and eyes on these tanks across the country. We renovate, repaint inside and outside close to 2,000 tanks every year around the country. We just renovated the 3rd tank over in Ludington that's under our program. This year, we've done the Everett tanks, we've done Baldwin tanks, some of your local neighbors, and we're talking and hopefully working with a lot of the other neighbors that are in this process right here, right around the Manistee area. But the way we look at the materials, we're buying them at bulk, basically, when it comes to buying the paint, buying the abrasives, to try to have savings for the customer. When it comes to the crews, we've got to have a lot of crews. When we're working on a tank and you've got a major renovation, you may be there anywhere from a month to 4 months at a time. A lot of our crews in Michigan are subcontractors. They're dedicated to us, but when we negotiate a rate with our subcontractors, we're negotiating a rate based upon 50 to 100 jobs, renovations of tanks, where traditionally if you were to, say, bid it out and get a 1-year warranty, you would only be negotiating 1 tank at a time, or potentially 2 if you want to get 2 done. Well, that's how we control our costs and pass those savings on to all of our customers across the state. It is an asset management approach. I showed this slide just for the fact that everybody loves looking at logos. We already had a logo discussion before the meeting, before the presentation started, and we can be very creative when it comes to rendering and making a logo on these tanks that will be a direct image of the township. That's the easy part of actually doing it. Sometimes the hard part when it comes to logos is designing one that makes everybody happy. So getting into the benefits of the actual program itself, logos are easy. The benefits and the key to the program is really the guts of the program is single source responsibility, reassignment of the risk. There's a lot of risk involved when you're renovating tanks. There's a lot of things that could go wrong when you're renovating tanks during the renovation or even 5 or 10 years down the road. If you get a bad batch of paint, and it doesn't cure properly onto the coatings, it could fall off in 5 years or 3 years down the road. There's too much humidity, you get some bad weather, maybe the crew has a bad day. Then that is some of the risks that are involved with the traditional way of maintenance. With this type of business model, we're assuming all those risks. So if something were to go wrong during renovation or 10 years down the road, we would assume that risk, and the township would not owe us any more money. We would have to make it right, because that's actually, at the end of the day, we're offering basically a lifetime warranty for all the coatings and all the parts of the tank in regards to safety, sanitary, structure, and security. All components of that tank in regards to the maintenance components to maintain that asset. To replace one of your assets today, you're looking at a capital investment. If you had to replace it, if you let it run to failure and it's severely corroded, it's ready to fall over, your 300,000 gallon tank, you're in the neighborhood of 1.5 million. Your 200, you're in the neighborhood of 1.2 million. So it's much more economical and practical to maintain it today than having to replace it, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. It is economical, which we're going to get into. It's balanced funding. There is some work to be done on both of your tanks to bring them up to today's standards. We have the financial stability, and we do this for all of our customers across the state, is to take the upfront work to bring it up to code and spread it out, say on this particular instance, over 5 years, interest-free. Then it drops down to a base fee, and that base fee takes care of all future maintenance. So when we come back and repaint that tank about every 10 years, instead of paying a large capital expenditure, you have a small base fee to pay. And with that, you get all the warranties, yearly inspections, emergency service that comes along with the asset management maintenance program. It is proactive versus reactive. We're going to ensure that the tank is up to in compliance with DEQ, American Water Works Association's guidelines for steel storage tanks, as well as OSHA standards for fall prevention. Annual inspections, that could be there's several different types of inspections for the tank. We want to make sure that we have a crew here and climbing and inspecting the tank every year, try to catch things before they get bad, basically. We feel if you can touch up some areas before they start really laminating or peeling off, you can extend that life of that coating system. And if it needs to repair, they're fully equipped to do any kind of welding or repair at the job site. Emergency service, if it springs a leak in the middle of the winter, we'll dispatch a crew to come out and take care of it. If somebody writes graffiti on that tank about something offensive to one of the council members, we'll come out and take care of it. It's part of the program. If it gets shot by a gun, we had our first one in Michigan, shot and penetrated earlier this year, and we had a crew there to come out and do an emergency washout, emergency weld, and touch up that area on the water tower. No engineering change orders. The reason why we had our condition assessment specialist climb the tank, do an analysis on the coatings, as well as the other parts of the tank is, we're assuming a lot of risk in regards to maintaining that asset, so we want to do a thorough condition assessment prior to presenting any numbers and maintenance program to council, because we can't come back and say, well, we missed something. We need to add $50,000 to make it right, because we missed it during the condition assessment. All of our work is overseen by a certified inspector for quality assurance. If we're going to offer an extended warranty, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, it mandates a much higher quality of work. So our inspectors that oversee our crews for quality assurance are very difficult on them, very challenging, because we want to raise that standard to a much higher level than it would be the traditional way. And with that, that actually has given us a lot of references around the state. It's made my job very busy, because we have a lot of people saying, you guys should work with these guys. The references and referrals that we're getting is sometimes overwhelming. And it's GASB 34 compliant, and all that means if there's a treasurer here, I'm sure you follow GASB 34, you have to depreciate all your assets on your books every year. All that says is compliance, where we're going to hold it as declared value. It's not going to depreciate, so you have to replace it every 40 or 60 years. Here's a partial list of customers. There's a lot of customers all around the state. There's a small list of, under our asset management maintenance program. And I kind of show this because we're going to be on these tanks every single year. So if something is needed, a repair, a touch-up, an emergency washout here at FILER Township, it's very easy for us to pull a couple guys off of a job and send them over here to do that repair or emergency cleanup of that tank. The list seems to be growing just about every week. This is my second council meeting this week, and a couple more next week, and a couple more the following week. This is the time of the year that we budget, and a lot of municipalities budget and plan for next year, the way it's all set up. So why inspect tanks? We're going to ensure that the screens are in place on top of your tank, on the bottom of your tank for your overflows, for your ventilation. Make sure your tank is locked and sealed. So things like this, there's a couple squirrels, decomposed squirrels that we flushed out of the tank here in Michigan, and a couple beer cans and the sedimentation. We're going to ensure that the risk of that happening in one of your storage tanks is very, very low by being there on a routine cycle. And we're also going to inspect the coatings. We're going to ensure that these coatings have a tendency, if they're not properly prepped, mixed, the humidity's wrong, they could fail. But we want to stay on top of it, so we're going to inspect it and routinely paint that tank. Because failures like this and failures like this could happen on the storage tank. That's some of the risk involved with maintaining those assets. Recommendations for year 2 storage tanks, starting with the Red Apple, 300,000 gallon Petasphere. We're recommending to overcoat the outside. We have priced into our contract retracing the existing logo, because we don't know what the new logo is going to be. When that comes out, when we do the rendering and help you decide on a new logo, it's just a simple addendum that we would add for additional minor costs for the logo if and when that happens. So we're recommending to overcoat the outside with 2 coats. This tank was built in 2004. We highly recommend, and under our program that would follow this suit, that these water towers should be painted about every 10 years. And you do this to be proactive, to keep good adhesion to the other layers. And if you keep on being proactive with overcoating these tanks, you can overcoat them 4 or 5 times before you have to take them down to bare steel. And taking them down to bare steel, you have to put curtains up around the entire tank, and because you got to blast it to bare steel, and you can't open or blast in our country. that whole process is about 4 times more expensive. So ultimately, you want to stay away from that. Some pictures of your storage tank, some coatings that are starting to pop on the exterior. But it's right in that year, it's right in that component where it should be, is hey, very successful to overcoat it. This is a notch rail system. We would upgrade to a cable climb, which is a safer fall prevention device on your ladder. This is the exterior roof. This is the railing. The interior wet, some minor rust bleeding on the roof area, but it's in pretty good condition. Your FILER road tank, 200,000 gallon tank, right next door. Not as good condition as your other tank, but it is good. It does have good enough adhesion to overcoat. So we recommend doing this exact same thing, overcoating this tank as well. I'll give you a new logo if you want a new logo for this one as well. This one was built in 1965. This is one of the oldest pedospheres in the state of Michigan. There's only been a few built in the 60s. Before that, there's all the old Leggett style tanks for elevated storage. So the coatings have popped. The tank is faded. The recommendations when it was painted last were the best recommendations. So what you have here is a metallic aluminum base coating system. And the only way to overcoat that area is to overcoat it with another aluminum base coating. It was recommended by whoever spec'd it out, maybe an engineer, to put an epoxy coating system on there, and that epoxy just all fell off, and it also pulled off the aluminum, and you can see the original lead-based primer. We're recommending to remove all the interior dry coating system and start over with a new coating system. Here's some additional. The vent is in good condition. The interior wet, this is iron and manganese biofilm. We would recommend to remove that every 2 years using an NSF-approved chemical to help improve water quality. The interior wet again. Here's the roof. Minor corrosion. In 2007, we developed what today is known as water mix. It's a couple of components to help improve water quality that we're doing. It's more of a best practice. We're doing it in all of our customers around the state. The first component is a chemical clean, which we would do every 2 years. You spray on a chemical, and you're removing that. Your iron and manganese, your chlorine is being chewed up by trying to kill off all the iron and manganese on your sidewalls. And this is what we usually will see is bacteriological growth floating in the tank because of stratification. You got warmer, lighter water and stagnant water up on top. A third of the tank typically, so we're installing active mixing to eliminate stratification, to have consistent water temperature and water age coming out of that tank year round. It is just a real quick case study on active mixing that's done several years ago where we dropped in temperature probes every 10 feet. And the temperature probes are obviously monitoring temperature and chlorine. And the very bottom of the tank, we fill it with very cold well water, around 54 55 degrees in the summertime. Had a temperature of around 11 degrees. And at 40 feet all the way up to 90 feet, over half of the tank was completely stagnant. It didn't have any chlorine residual at all. Once the mixer was turned on, all these layers came together from 20 feet to 90 feet to form one exact temperature top to bottom, which resulted in the exact same chlorine residual from top to bottom. And so of course that's in the summertime, but in the wintertime it eliminates the potential of damaging ice. And ice has done a lot of damage within storage tanks across the state. It's kind of what it looks like installed. It runs 24/7, 365. It runs off of 110, very low voltage, and the energy consumption is less than $1 a day. It's equivalent to a couple small light bulbs. It spins very, very slowly, but once it gets that movement and that water is very, very powerful throughout that storage tank. Any questions on the recommendations? Okay. I'm kind of going pretty quick through this, but like I said, Terry and Tom and I went through this a few weeks ago. So I'm going to just put up all these right here for an economical analysis. We're comparing an asset management approach where we inspect the tank every year. We offer a lifetime warranty, emergency service for everything, every part of that tank in regards to the maintenance, to basically just a paint job. If you were to go the traditional way, you do it every 10 years. So we estimate that it would cost about $176,000 if you were to go the traditional way, up here with a 1-year warranty, to renovate your 300,000 gallon tank. Our physical cost is $135,000. How much is it going to cost 10 years later to do the exact same work, to repaint it again? The traditional way, we estimate with a small 3% inflationary adjustment to be $228,000. Now, based upon the size of your tank and the style of your tank and the location, we develop a base fee. And that base fee will take care of all future maintenance and as well as maintenance for today. The average base fee for this size tank over 10 years is $20,000 per year. And you add up that over 10 years, it's $200,000. So instead of paying $200,000 or $228,000 10 years down the road, all you have to pay is a small base fee. Now, one of the financial components that we offer with all of our customers, for all of our customers across the state and country is, instead of paying $135,000, which may lead you a bit depleted in water fund for some municipalities, we have the financial option and financial ability to take that $135,000, spread that out over 5 years, interest-free, then you basically drop down to the base fee that handles all future maintenance. Any thoughts? Any comments? It's a lot of numbers out there. I want to make sure everybody understands.
What's that figure, the first 5 years, Dan?
37,994. So we would do all the work in year one, bring the tank up to code, install the mixer, paint the outside, logos, interior wet, everything I'll bring it up to today's standards, and just simply spread out all that work over 5 years. So this is how we look at the business model from a traditional way.
Can I back you up just a second? Okay, so that first year, we're getting the water tower painted.
Yes.
And we're going to put 37 whatever in for the next 5 years.
38, yeah.
Okay. And then we start putting in 20,000, and at the end of 10 years, we're getting it painted again.
Correct.
So what we're looking at there roughly is about around 300,000 that we're putting into it to get 2 paintings out of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to traditional would be 100-some thousand the first year, and then
228 at least, minimum.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to follow, if you're an investor and you usually go by the last 5 years, 10 years of a portfolio, tank maintenance actually has doubled in the last 10 years. So this 176 very easily could be well over $350,000. I just wanted to do this as an economical analysis to show the differences between the two delivery methods for procurement and for maintaining that asset.
You also get the inspections though during the...
Right.
Yeah, everything else that comes with it. We're just basically comparing this to a paint job.
With a 1-year warranty.
Yeah.
Traditional.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk involved, you know, and usually if you do see something fail prematurely, it's going to fail anywhere from years 3 to year 6 after a few freeze thaw cycles, a few winters, where the coatings have a chance to expand a little bit, the steel expands a little bit. You're not going to typically see it in that first year.
And that's what we had with this water tower, basically, was
made it through the 1-year warranty.
Peeled and, no longer at a warranty.
We see that a lot. I gave a class earlier today of 40 operators, water system superintendents and directors, and they all had a story to share about something that they've seen or something that happened to them as well. It is pretty common, it does happen. But at the end of the day, the township, the traditional way, would own that risk and would have to be on their dime to fix.
And that peeling paint in this water tower is a real issue right now with DEQ. So
you got exposure to lead. It's a lead-based paint. So, okay. So this is kind of how we look at it. We're wrapping this up. Our business model, is kind of hard to see that slide here, but the traditional business model, you have a lot of finger pointing at different companies if something were to go wrong. What happened with your job, nobody really knows. I don't think anybody's really here at the time. But what happened, who spec'd it, who painted it, who brought in the materials, that's in the past, doesn't really matter. But if you were trying to go through litigation with that and made it past a 1-year warranty, you would never win. What you have is, coatings manufacturer getting involved, an engineer, an inspection firm, a contractor, a painting contractor. There's a lot of different people, but at the end of the day, they're all going to point fingers at somebody else and not assume that risk. Where our business model is very simple, very streamlined, where you got a tank owner, You got a utility service group, then you have the asset. Then we would assume the risk in regards to maintaining that asset. So just a quick summary, the program covers all yearly inspections, emergency service, whenever needed, lifetime warranty compared to a 1-year warranty, set annual budget number, no change orders. We are the only company that offers this type of business model. There's not another company that wants to assume that type of risk or has the financial capability to assume that risk or spread out that work over a number of years. And there is short-term and long-term savings. It's estimated between your couple year takes about $137,000 each over the 10-year period. And what most guys say, and a lot of customers in the training class earlier today that I was given for operators to keep their license up, is that what it really is hassle-free. If something happens to your tank, you just pick the phone up and call us. We'll come out and take care of it. Instead of having a meeting, having another meeting, and trying to figure out who to hire to take care of X, Y, and Z on that asset. You just pick the phone up and we'll come out and take care of it and assess it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Dan, I'm Richard Wilson. I work with you guys in Ludington.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Address the cell antennas that may be on top of these. I think we have some on the...
We have the 911 in town.
911.
right on. You obviously have to take those off, put them back on. Do you do all the dealings with the cell companies and the antenna companies, or is that up to us?
If there's new additional cell companies coming on board to that tank, say AT&T approaches the township and they want to put their antennas up on top of the tank, that's where we would get involved. If there's existing equipment up there and if it has to be removed, it's up to the owner of that equipment. We want to try to stay away from touching their antennas.
Right, but you do the coordination with the cell antenna.
Yeah, that's no problem. They usually have 3 months advance notice. And what we're doing here with Ludington, they did a blast containment, so everything had to come off of that tank. What we're recommending here is not that. It's just an overcoat. So most antennas, unless it's a very poor installation and it impedes us from doing our job, we can work around.
Okay. Because I know that we had to take a lot of antennas off.
Yeah.
And put it back on.
And that's a major pain.
Yeah.
These antenna companies are not the easiest to work with. I actually gave an hour-long class earlier today on how to and how not to install antennas on storage tanks. And it's a challenge. They're really challenging companies to work for, but we do it. That's part of our responsibility.
We have our 911 dispatch antennas around that tank.
Okay.
But with 3 months notice, we would probably arrange with the radio company if they had to be taken
Can
down.
you remove them, or because we have been able to work around them? If it's easy enough to remove, we do ask to remove them so we don't damage them, we don't hit the cables with a lot of equipment going up and down this,
Right.
and the crews are working hard and it may hit something. So if they can be removed, we would prefer that, but if it's a total inconvenience and your 911 is going to be down, we will do our best to work around it.
Okay, we'll check with the radio.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions of Dan? Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome. Appreciate the presentation.
Have they provided us with a proposal?
There's two in front of Carrie right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could have one maybe to look at, because we do
Okay.
have two.
Pretty much the same language as probably Lycan was 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, we had a couple changes in the contract with Ludington that you guys were very cooperative in working through some of those issues. So, yeah. Pass one down.
I can leave it with my copies. They always mail me copies.
Richard, one's coming to you.
Those are executed too, so if you want to hang on to those, I'll...
Oh, okay, all right.
Mr. Wilson, hang on to these.
We need
I
a
think
pen.
those are both FILER Township.
One for each tank?
Yes.
Okay.
You want this?
You?
Give it back to her. Or-
Okay, that brings us to communications and announcements. Item A, the letter from the claims adjuster with Municipal Underwriters of Michigan. you've had an opportunity to look through that.
Can I
Yes,
excuse myself?
you may be excused.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any questions or concerns on that? Basically, it states that, we don't have the coverage for the ice damage from the winter.
Thank you.
Item B, the County Road Commission's strategic plan. It's pretty extensive, so if you haven't had an opportunity yet to read through that, take a look at it. Item C, the Manistee County Park and Recreation Plan update. That is interesting. It's just a 2 or 3 page report. I did want to ask Shirley if anyone was in touch with you yet on that. Rob Carson maybe, or anyone?
No, not me,
Okay.
unless they call in and talk to her.
Okay. Because we need to respond to that, and so I'll check in with Lynn on that. Item D was the letter from the Manistee County Board of Commissioners to Governor Rick Snyder, basically dealing with the road situation, not just in Manistee County, but across the state, and encouraging something to be done about the funding of roads. Item E is communication from Sarah Lucas, Regional Planning Department Manager, Networks Northwest. And that has to do with affordable housing in Manistee County. There is a meeting coming up November 12th out at West Shore Medical Center in the Education Center from 9 to 11. I've got that on my calendar. I'm going to try to attend that. If anyone would like to attend with me, just let me know. I'll be happy to
What date
take
is
you
it?
along. That's on November 12th.
11 or 12.
Yeah, November 12th, 9 to 11 in the morning
At,
at West Shore Medical Center in the Education Center. Okay, public comment. Any public comment tonight? Yes, sir.
Last month, we asked about the privacy policy that's been put in place by the township. Any response, anything that you can tell us about how you to protect our information?
Well, I think we respond at that point in time that everything has been put away. It's not public, and Social Security numbers, et cetera, are redacted. Any requests that come in for any of that information, all of that private information is redacted.
What about going forward for next year?
Same thing.
So everything, you have a policy now in place, and it's a standard way you're going to treat things when they come in?
Yes.
Okay, that was my main question.
Anyone else? Any other public comment? Okay, then we'll move on to Department and Committee reports. Item A was the Water Department report. You've had an opportunity to look at that. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Item B, Fire Department. Ron? And you were given a copy of Ron's report that wasn't included in your packet, but should be in front of you now.
Last month we had 18 emergency calls. All 18 of those were medical calls. During October we had participated in several public service events. Kmart Safety Day, Fire Prevention Week. We went to Madison School and did a fire and EMS vehicle display, and then brought each class out and gave them a tour of the engine and the rescue truck. We did stand by at the MCC bonfire along with the city of Manistee. We also did a decontamination tent exercise with West Shore Medical Center, in which we decontaminated patients who were involved in a chemical emergency and passed them on to the hospital for final decontamination and treatment for their injuries. We did another display at Madison School for the Young Fives group. They came out and did a tour of the trucks and the rescue. As we do annually, we were at the Manistee Cross Country Invitational. There are numerous students that come, schools bring their cross country teams and run on Cutter's Ridge Golf Course. We go out with our rescue truck and our ranger. The ranger operates on the golf course if there's injuries. We've received a lot of compliments because they stated that of all the places that they go for cross country, we're the only location that provides them with any medical coverage. Typically every year we treat numerous cuts and scrapes and that type of thing, and we usually transport at least one student to West Shore Medical Center by ambulance for treatment. Most of those are all minor, well, they've all been minor injuries, but they were injuries that needed to be seen by a doctor. We had our Halloween parade last Friday, and that turned out very well. We got a lot of support from our local businesses. They had a lot of people turn out. We had approximately 300 people that turned out for the parade, both participants in the parade and bystanders along the street. We provided them with, we moved our normal tables inside that we have so that it would be a little bit warmer. We provided them with cookies and candy and popcorn, apple cider and coffee, all of which was very well received, and none of which was paid for by the taxpayers in our township. It was all paid for by donations or by the Fire Department Auxiliary. We did have an incident in which we had a battery that shorted out in our engine that resulted in a large-scale production of hydrogen gas. We were very lucky that didn't ignite. We had to take our engine out of service and have all the batteries replaced. And then when we did that, we inspected our tanker, and we found a battery on there that was slightly bulged. So we had to replace all the batteries in our tanker as well. The batteries in the engine were 11 years old, and the batteries in the tanker were 9 years old. As you saw in the past, last year we acquired a Hummer from the United States Army. One of our firefighters painted that. It's a semi-gloss black. And Vans Towing, Scott Van Ellis provided us with a building to do it in and an air compressor, so we painted it. With the only thing that cost to the department was the cost of the paint itself. We've had a lot of questions about why we need something like that, and the purpose for having that particular unit. As you know, Fox Farm Road is one-way dead end, not one-way dead end road. There's not a second way in, but the professional club owns property that goes from the end of County Line Road up to the end of Fox Farm. We've talked to them. We're going to talk to them again in the spring. Currently, there is a pathway up through there that we could navigate with that Hummer. That would be the only vehicle along with our Ranger if we had to do any type of evacuation from that area. So that is the primary purpose of having that vehicle. We hope to improve that somewhat to make it a little bit easier if we have to get up in that area. We also attended the one-day conference that you graciously approved for us to attend in Frankenmuth. That was very interesting. I do have some information that I'm going to write up. They had a lot of good ideas as far as changes to not only how we operate, but how we get information, provide you guys with information, get information from the public, and find out what the public expects from us. They said the biggest problem with the fire service is they need to be more proactive with the public so that they get input from the public and the public finds out exactly what they do and who we are. So we'll be working on that, and I'll have another report on that conference at next month's meeting. Also, last item, I included with my report a copy of the county mutual aid agreement. I believe all the copies you have 3 words in the front that are in red. That is the only change in verbiage to this mutual aid agreement. The agreement used to be just for fires, and the agreement states that if we call a department into our area for a fire, if any of their equipment is damaged or breaks or any of their personnel are injured, that remains their responsibility. We all agree to that. If we go somewhere, the reverse applies. And as time goes on and our emergencies become more complex and we have a harder time attracting personnel because everyone is so busy, we find ourselves calling each other more often for emergencies other than fires. Especially car accidents. As our area grows and our car accidents become more serious and more common, we require more personnel, especially during the daytime. So what we did is we add to the mutual aid agreement, we added the words, it now reads event of fire or other emergency. That is the only change we've made. I talked to Richard about it before the meeting, and he said that he didn't see any problem with it. Everything else still applies the same. It's the same mutual aid agreement we've had for the last 15 years. As far as the verbiage goes, that would be the only change. The only other change to the agreement is that we've added the City of Manistee. They were not on the last agreement. They've expressed a desire to be in this agreement this time. And also West Shore Medical Center EMS has been added to this agreement. They were not on it before because it was for fire only. And so we've added them since it also covers other emergencies. So I guess I'm asking the board to approve this. We need to travel it around through the county to 12 different fire departments for their signatures. And you guys are the first that I've approached, so I need the authorization for Mr. Walker to sign it so we can pass it on to the City of Manistee for their approval.
Any questions for Ron on that?
I have a statement to make. First of all, the area out Fox Farm Road, it's not called the professional club, it's
Lakeland Association.
Lakeland Association.
I'm old school.
Yes, you are. And it is a real dilemma that there is only one entrance, one exit, and it's terrible.
And we're going to be working out that area. I don't know if you've seen the countywide protection plan.
No.
It's something that we've been working on for a year, and that's for wildfires, because in that area we have a great concern regarding wildfires going through the area. So we're going to be working a lot on that from that area, and then to the somewhat to the east to US 31 in different areas where there's a higher risk. So we'll be out there this spring working on that, and we also want to work on that trail so we can get in and out of there. Not only for fires, but also wind shear, if it blocked all the roads up.
Right.
We're also working with our local excavators, Carl's Excavating and Swiderski Excavating, for their help with their heavy equipment if we should have those types of emergencies there.
Right,
So we have a lot of things going on with our disaster planning and then with the county emergency management. So, and I'll try to remember, it's Lakeland Association, not the professional club. It was that way when I started in the fire department, and it keeps slipping out.
I know, a lot of people do that.
Yep.
It's good to see you've added the city and to the agreement and West Shore EMS. That's got to be a plus, I would think.
I'm sorry?
I would think that's got to be a big plus in the
Yeah,
agreement.
it is, because the emergencies are so varied anymore that the West Shore now responds to every fire that we have. They do it automatically. As soon as they hear a fire call go out, they bring an ambulance to the scene. So it's important that they're in there because it not only, if something were to happen to them, again, we could possibly be liable if we didn't include them. So everyone is covered by their own insurance by signing this agreement. So, in the city, if you recall, we have a separate agreement with the city. And I discussed that with Richard before the meeting. That is also necessary, but that's necessary because of the state of Michigan EMS system requires us to have a separate written mutual aid agreement saying that if we have a medical emergency, multiple medical emergencies, or we are not available for some reason, they will come and help us. And that, we already have that in this agreement, but the state also requires us to have a separate agreement to that. So that we actually have two mutual aid agreements with the city of Manistee.
So you're looking for a motion for approval from this board to sign?
Right, for the updated mutual aid agreement.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign.
I'll support that.
Motion by Hachinsky, second by Williams, to approve the mutual aid agreement that Ron has presented tonight. We can do a roll call on that, Shirley?
Yeah, okay. Ball, yes. Williams?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Rachinsky?
Yes.
Scarra?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Item C, you have Glenn's report, zoning administrator's report, and as you can see, there's been very little activity in October. Just a request from the attached garage. Item D is the Planning Commission minutes. Shirley, is there anything you want to add to that? You have the Planning Commission minutes as well as the minutes of the public hearing from the
Right.
Planning Commission.
For the renovation of Green Ridge Realty, onto the credit union. It's the Morton Credit Union, but there's a new name that's Old School Morton. So they were given verbal approval. Richard wrote up the contract, and that'll be signed at this coming meeting. Also, we should be having Lynn Wilson. I don't know if she's coming in November or if it'll be held off till December, but we're working on our strategic plan, and the planners did want her to come. So Lynn was working with her, Arlene was working with Lynn Wilson to try to get together so she would come to one of the meetings soon.
Okay, thank you. Item E is the Building and Grounds Committee report, and I guess, Ed, is there anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah.
In the tree removal?
Yeah. Well, what tree do you want? Next to number 2?
Yes.
Yeah. But there's something else. I don't know where mine is. The proposal for, we need board approval for that changeover in custom sheeting to do that repair work.
It's right here.
Yeah,
It was loose on your table. Look underneath your name tag.
Oh. Thanks. We should have a cut to go for that, board approval. And Caroline finished that asphalt. I'll bet you we'll never even get it done this year. There by the fire station.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're done pouring yet, but I bet you they're close. I can call them again. And
Okay. I'll give him a call too, Ed.
all right.
Ron, does that dip where they put that sewer drain, that drywall?
Yeah.
Is that a hazardous going through there with the trucks?
No. It was more so with the other one. But they really built it up and strengthened it a lot.
It looked to me like there was quite a dip right there.
Well, and we're still waiting for them to come and pave it. That's going to bring it up a little more.
Okay.
It's not quite so deep, is it?
Okay, so we do have a proposal from Custom Sheet Metal for the work to be done at the fire hall on the vent flues for the radiant tube heaters. It would include removing the old vents, replacing with new ones, terminate vents with 45-degree downturn with screens. The bid is for all materials and labor is for $950. And I think you've been working with Ron on that right along, right, Ed?
Yeah.
Getting that done. It's something that needs to be done.
Ron is the one that showed it to me first.
I'm sorry?
You showed this, Ron, to me first, before we done anything else.
And their contractor will be putting the snow things on the roof so that we don't have those crusts again there.
This fall?
Yeah.
Did you get his a copy of his liability insurance?
No, he told me he was going to drop it up here. He didn't get it either.
No.
I will contact.
Check with Lynn, but I haven't gotten anything.
No, she would have turned it in to me
Right.
for that.
You haven't gotten
I
anything,
gotten it.
okay.
Okay.
I spoke with him about it, but yeah, why don't you give him a call
Yep.
if you can get a hold of him. Okay, so we need a motion then to approve this bid for the work to be done on the
Fire station.
vents at the fire station.
I'll motion to approve that.
Support.
Motion by Scara, support by Williams to approve the bid from Custom Sheet Metal and Heating for $950 to take care of the work at the fire hall on the heater vents and flues. Any questions, concerns on that? Any comments? Okay, sure we want to do a call on that?
Williams,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Scara,
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other item is the tree removal located near Pump House 2. We did have Bruce Schaub, because it was on short notice, I just contacted him. He had done the tree removal, the tree that was overhanging the rec center and threatening that before we had our new roof put on. So I contacted him because when we had to have Northern Well and Pump come up and pull the casings on Well House 2, that oak tree had a couple of limbs that were in the way that they couldn't get in there with their equipment to pull it. And since it was short notice and had to be done, I just approved it. It was a cost of $250 to remove those limbs, but the entire tree itself is leaning at a pretty good angle over that pump house. And actually, there at some point in history, a limb did come down there and punched a hole in the roof, through the metal roof there, and also dented another area in it. So I think we need to take that tree down. Bruce Schaub gave me a price of $650 to take the tree down. That would include what he's already done with the limb removal. So a total of $650 to remove that. It's a fairly large oak tree.
That 250 in that?
Yes, that's
Okay.
included in it. If we don't approve the tree removal, then we just owe them $250. If we approve the entire removal, then it's going to be $650.
God, that'll help with the leaves.
Well, that's only one of many oaks there, yeah. But it will help, and I think that's,
I got part of it.
a very good price for that, yes.
You need a motion on that?
Yes.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Williams, second by Scarrett to remove the oak tree that's located near Pump House 2 by Bruce Schaub at a cost of $650.
Is the roof done on the rec center?
Yes.
It
They
is.
just finished up,
I have something
what day it was I came by.
from Freeland.
Yes.
Okay, I have the bill. Would you look at it and before I pay it and be sure that everything is in order?
Okay.
Still
I
back
would
at
like
my
to-
desk.
You want a copy of the original bid too?
I think I got
Okay.
one, but I would like to see the roof myself. I'll get part way up there or something.
Okay, let me know, I'll go with you. I did, and I
Did
know
they put
Tom
the
did
hip on
too.
like we wanted?
They did, but when and we were talking about that tonight, it doesn't look like it's
Well,
built
that
up
ain't
at all.
much.
But no, the specs were I think 2 5/8 inches.
Something.
And so I got up on the ladder right at roof level and
And looked.
looked, and there's a slope. It's not much, there's a slope, but they said, and it water shouldn't stand on it now, it should run off. And that was our main concern.
Right.
Our maintenance guy told me before the new roof was put on, water was coming down and not going into the rain trough over the one door on the west side of the building. And today I stopped there when it was raining, and he said that it was going in the trough all right, so I looked at it.
Facing 28.
I crawled up there on the roof and looked
Wow.
yesterday.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Elections Committee, item F.
Wait a minute, I got one more thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ed, go ahead.
I don't know where we're gonna put it. Are we gonna go with that water cooler project? Or did we approve that the last meeting?
No.
Right here, we were gonna, oh no, we decided that at a building and grounds,
Yeah.
we were gonna rent the thing.
Right.
Okay,
And that-
because Lynn called me today and said that she's called them to send us a contract of some sort.
Yeah, no, Building and Grounds did approve that, and it's an amount that doesn't require board approval, so,
Okay,
yeah.
very good, that's it.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. F, Elections Committee, Shirley?
Well, we're all done with our midterm elections. We had 1,096 voters. That's up from 4 years ago for the same election. And I know the canvassers were working by now. They may be complete. So that would be it.
Okay. You have a copy of the PEG Commission report. Wasn't in your packet, but it should have been under your name plate. Dean and Dale are not here to expound on that, so you'll just have to read it on your
What do we
own.
got there?
I might be able to comment on it.
Keith, yeah, you got something you want to add to it?
A couple of things. The video production class is going very well. The students are going to be taping the match meetings, and also they're in the process of doing some commercials like they did last year, which will be judged by a panel, and there'll be some sort of a prize offered for the best commercial. Last year they were fantastic. And one other thing is I've been chasing a class action suit for 3 years. It refers to the chip manufacturers, not potato chips, but the Intel type chips that are in computers, and specifically in large screen monitors and television. It seems that there was a conflict of interest between, I guess that's not the right word, price fixing would be the right word, between the manufacturers, and they got caught. And in 3 years, in courts and out of courts, they managed to finally get a settlement. And I was working on it just for kind of fun and thinking if I got anything, it'd probably be $13 or something like that. And I got a check in the mail last week for $1,000. So that kind of helped our budget a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, that's it.
That's good.
Okay, item H is the DDA report, the minutes, and also you have in there a copy of the Township Target Market Analysis report that was done by Sharon Woods at Land Use USA. And that was discussed at some length tonight at the DDA meeting, and that's kind of just the first step. We're going to be launching some activity to really aggressively and proactively market the township. So there'll be more coming on that. Item I, the sewer project. We had a meeting about a month ago, and we're going to be meeting on Monday of this week again to start looking at some figures. So that's this coming Monday. Okay, moving into new business. Ruth, you would like to seek approval for a $60 fee for your deputy treasurer to take this webinar at a cost of $60, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And I'll make a motion that we approve that.
I'll support it.
Motion by Walker, second by Hachinsky to approve a 4-session webinar for our deputy treasurer at a cost of $60. Any questions?
Yeah, who is our deputy?
Karen.
Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment.
For the future, for the veterans exemption on the property tax situation, we went through quite an ordeal this year with several grantings and denials. We just had our meeting with the tax tribunal last Friday, and everything was cleared through, and the veterans have all been granted exemption. My question is, for the future, are we going to have to go through the same thing next year, or is this going to be pretty well resolved by what we went through this year?
I can't be held to an answer on that because I'm only one person. I don't have a vote there, but I don't anticipate any problems.
Okay, well, you're in charge. I mean, you're the guys in charge. You're supposed to be supervising the tax.
I am the supervisor, but I have no vote on the Board of Review. But with
Seems like it's all ironed out.
with what you went through, what we went through as a township, I think we've all learned quite a bit from it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't anticipate any problems.
All right. Well, we're all getting ready to file our applications again.
Right.
So, it's
Right.
it just
It's an annual, right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other public comment? Okay, anything else to come before the board tonight? Tom, do you have anything else? Ed?
Yeah.
Anything else to come
No.
before the board? No. Ruth? Shirley? I have nothing else either, so I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you for everyone's input.